Welcome to Film and Page. I'm Dominic, and this is another episode of Road to Dune. So I got some Dune video game news, and this is news that kind of got by me, so it's a little bit older, but I still wanted to talk about it anyway. So there are two new Dune games coming out, well, sort of. So one is actually a revised, older Dune game that's going to be coming out for people who are into retro gaming. And then the other Dune game that's coming out, it's going to be coming out on Steam, and it's a real-time strategy game called Dune Spice Wars. So I'm going to talk about the retro one first because I thought this was kind of neat. So this article is from Nintendo Life. The GBA's unreleased Dune game is being revived on Kickstarter, minus the IP rights. If you happen to have Nintendo's retro handhelds in your collection, there are still multiple interesting releases and projects emerging. The latest to pop up is Eland, The Crystal Wars for Game Boy Advance, a game that publisher The Retro Room game is reviving minus a famous IP. Originally, way back in 2002, it was a GBA game that was pretty much finished, but got cancelled due to the financial issues of its publisher, Cryo Interactive, which was no doubt a source of huge disappointment for developer Soft Brigade. Hat tip to Unseen 64. At that point, it was called Frank Herbert's Dune Ornithopter Assault, licensed to use characters and settings from the iconic novel. No doubt you've seen a lot about the latest film version in the media too. It was a flying shooter with over 20 stages and even had some multiplayer modes for use with the portable's linked cable. Now, after around 20 years, the Retro Room Games has acquired rights to the title, but evidently couldn't renew or acquire the Dune IP. As a result, the game is being retooled with some visual and script tweaks to remove specific Dune references, hence the new name. And for those that have always wanted a chance to own the cancelled game, this looks like the best option to get an actual cartridge and complete version. So this is kind of interesting. I didn't think retro game was this big that they were actually still making retro games for older devices. So this is kind of neat. Now, I myself don't have a Game Boy Advance or anything, so I probably would never get around to playing this game. But it's kind of cool that they went back and retooled this game. So if you always wanted to play it, now you can get a chance, even though it's not a Dune game technically because they couldn't use any of the IP, but at least you can get close enough to what it was and what it was originally meant to be. So I thought this was pretty cool, and I thought this was a cool article. So now on to the other article I want to talk about, and that's Dune Spice Wars. Dune Spice Wars will launch lean, add major features over time. Multiplayer and companion will come after the initial launch. Dune Spice Wars was originally announced at the 2021 Game Awards with a short cinematic trailer. Developer Shiro Games released a FAQ on Friday that reveals more information about the strategy game. Among a few finer lore questions and art style answers, the developer answered inquiries about gameplay, pricing, and early access model. The game combines real-time strategy gameplay, like base building and unit management, with a larger 4X style scope and scale. Shiro Games and publisher Funcom aren't ready to announce a price point yet, and the game will go through early access. Players will start off with House Harkonnen and House Atreides as playable factions, as well as two others at launch. A fifth faction will be added to early access along with more later. It sounds like Spice Wars' first build will be focused entirely on the gameplay, which takes place across complex procedurally generated maps. Players will have to manage intrigue, politics, armies, and more as they fight for control of Arrakis. We will definitely do multiplayer, the developer says, but it will arrive as a major update later in early access. The single-player campaign will also be an update sometime during this period. The game will also launch without player-made mods, but the FAQ states that with enough demand for mod support, we would be more than happy to look at the possibility. Dune Spice Wars will release on Steam in 2022, with more platforms to potentially come. So this game actually looks really nice. I've got some screenshots of the game. So I want to take a look at these now because this looks really cool, this game. So first of all, we got the Baron Harkonnen. So as you can see, this game is going to take a lot of its imagery, is going to be inspired by the new film. That's the look of this game. You can tell that right away when you look at the Baron Harkonnen here. And here's like a heads up, this looks like a management screen for managing your houses and resources and weapons and stuff. And then that looks like different things you can buy and build, and like military guys and guns. And it reminds me a lot of Dune 2000 and the early Dune real-time strategy games that came out in the 90s, actually. And then here's another map of the territory that, you can move your armies around on and stuff like that. So I'm going to take a look at some of the like landscape shots because it looks really good. Actually looks really nice. Like here's this one over the desert with an ornithopter that looks amazing. Like that looks really, really gorgeous. That looks incredible. And here's another one with what looks like to be some kind of a base that someone has set up there. And you can even see shadows and stuff being casted by the men and the ornithopters and all that. Looks incredible. And then here's another one that looks like some kind of a dust storm coming towards that settlement there with the ornithopters in the sky again. And then here is probably one of my favorite ones here. This one here is actually my favorite. I think this looks so cool. This night shot of that base, and you can see the moons in the background and how the desert looks at night. It looks really cool. Like this game looks awesome. And then here's one more, and you can see armies engaging each other on the sands and stuff like that. Just looks great. And Dune is a game that just lends itself so easily to this style of gameplay, that real-time strategy. Now, the original Dune 2 was a real-time strategy game. Now that one, I know that one is really well loved by a lot of game fans. That one I never ever played that one, but I did get Dune 2000, which was like a reworking of Dune 2. That's the one I played. That's the one I love. That game, I have a lot of nostalgia for that game. That's like one of the funnest computer games I've ever played. I absolutely loved it. Played it for hours and hours and hours. And then they did Dune Emperor. That one was not too bad, but it was like disappointing. So this is one that I really hope is good, because I've been like wanting a game something like Dune 2000 for a long time, and looks like this could be it. And the graphics and everything just looks absolutely amazing. So I'll see what the reviews and stuff are like when the game comes out. And but it looks cool. It looks really cool. And the game design and how the surface of the planet looks and the bases and the armies, everything looks detailed. It looks just absolutely gorgeous. So there's lots of video game options for Dune coming out. And we still have the open world one, the online one. And then we have this one as well. And I'd be curious to know what else. They'll probably have some more games coming out as well. So really cool stuff. So that's everything I got to say in this video. Let me know what you think in the comments section, and I will see you at the next one. I'd like to say thank you to all of my subscribers. I appreciate you all in helping this channel grow. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also, don't forget to hit the bell icon so you'll be notified when new videos are uploaded.